Good morning everyone, and welcome to this beautiful campsite in the mountains of western Wyoming. I'm here with my wife Cassie and our dog Bowser. This is a 3-day, 2-night camping trip, and this is the final morning. We're about to pack up here, assuming the weather stays good. That has been kind of the issue with this trip. The weather has been terrible. It's been raining almost the entire time. We had about an hour and a half of sun yesterday and a little bit of sun on the first day, but other than that it's just been cold and rainy, which hasn't been the biggest problem because this trip has been a kind of a different kind of trip. Our plan for this was to just basically hang out and read for a couple of days. We named this the Family Readathon Camp Out or something like that. Family Camp Readathon. And to that extent, it's been great. It's been a lot of fun. We've just been cozy and cuddled up in the clam in our little teardrop camper. That was another reason for this trip. I wanted Cassie and Bowser, I wanted all of us to go on a trip together in the clam before winter hit. And as you can see, we kind of did that. It's kind of winter. It actually snowed last night, but I think we should be able to make it out of here. I don't know if I said this, but we are in the Wyoming Range, which is a mountain range in western Wyoming that I've been to a couple times this year. And I went here last year also, and I wanted to come here because I knew that this spot would be a good place to have a campsite right next to the river. So let me show you the river here. Actually, first let me just show you the campsite as a whole. We have this nice little clearing in the forest with some trees around. We have the Land Cruiser pulling the clam, and as you can see, it was muddy on the way in here. You should have seen this a couple days ago when we first got in. The rain has washed this off significantly, but the entire front of this was basically brown and muddy, and it's still like that a little bit. But the real highlight here is that the river is just a short walk down the slope here from the campsite. This is Gray's River. Just a really beautiful spot to spend a couple days. But again, cold. Cassie and Bowser are inside the Land Cruiser warming up. The heater is on. We'll see them in a second here, but I wanted to show you what the inside of the clam looks like on this trip. Basically just tons and tons of blankets and sleeping bags and pillows. We've got like, I don't know, 8 pillows and 3 sleeping bags, multiple blankets. It's been a very cozy time. The big thing I noticed on this trip is that there's a lot of condensation in here. You can probably see that. With the doors open like this, the clam is not very waterproof. And I mean, that's kind of obvious, right? Like rain can just get in here, and rain kind of comes in through here and through the screws in here. And so for this to be completely waterproof, when it's raining, the doors have to be closed. The problem with that is that there's not much ventilation, and so we had the doors closed all night, and the result was condensation in there. Not a huge problem. I do have a little microfiber towel that we used yesterday to wipe up the condensation. We haven't done that yet this morning because I wanted to show it to you guys. But that is one of the reasons that I wanted to install a rooftop fan on this thing. When I bought the clam, the previous owner told me that the #1 change he would make, so I asked him about that. I said, what's the one thing you would do to this to improve it? He said he would add more ventilation, and I can see why. I actually do have a fan. I bought a rooftop vent fan, a little circle one for that, and the plan was to install that, but I think I am going to sell this before winter hits. The plan with this thing was to see if I liked having a separate little camper, and also to just practice towing this with the Land Cruiser in remote places on dirt roads. And to that extent, it was a success. And it's just a weird, funny, cool thing that I liked. And the plan really wasn't to keep it for too long. I'd rather have that couple $1,000 in the bank than in this right now, I think. So I think I will sell this before winter hits. But because of that, I don't know if I will go ahead and install that vent. I think I'm probably going to just sell the vent and the other accessories that I bought for this thing, along with the clam, and you know, the next owner can install it. So anyway, that's my little summary of this camping trip and of the clam on this trip. Let's go into the car now, and I have a series of questions that I want to talk about with Cassie, because again, this was her first camp out in this, and so I want to get her thoughts and share those thoughts with you guys about this kind of camping. Okay, back in the warmth of the Land Cruiser. You guys have probably seen Cassie in my past videos, but she hasn't been in one for a while, so it's good to have her back in the channel, or back on the channel, back in a video. And the first question I wanted to ask you was about the readathon. What are your thoughts about our family camp readathon camping trip?
It was great. If you're gonna go camping and not do anything, like just to like snuggle up and read, this was a good one. I really liked it, and it's been really hard for me to focus on reading, so this made me focus on reading because I didn't have access to phone service or anything else. It was just audiobooks and physical books and digital books.
Yeah, and that was kind of the goal of this trip, was to you know, disconnect a little bit, and yeah, just have time specifically to read and to be together. I was reading, let's see, I read a couple books. One was a book in the Inspector Gamache series. He's a guy who works with the police in Quebec. He's a detective and solves mysteries, and I read the second book in that series, and it was good. I didn't love it. I don't think I'll go on to the third one. I have the third one from the library, but I think I'm gonna move on to another series. And then I was reading the fifth or sixth book in a series called Brother Cadfael. It's a series set in like the 1100s in England. It's about this monk who solves mysteries. I like that series. It's a good series. How about you? What have you been reading?
I haven't finished any of the 2 books that I started on this trip, except for that one little cozy mystery. It was like about this magical bakery. I finished that. It wasn't like super exciting or charming, but I might give the second one a chance. We'll see. And then
there are lots of books in that series. There are like,
yeah, there's like 10. So we'll see how that goes.
What was the name of that book?
Brownies and Broomsticks. And it was short too, so that's what I liked about it.
And Cassie likes to read books that are like appropriate to the season. So in the fall, she likes to read kind of spooky books or just kind of cozy fall type books.
It's witch season, so magical season, witch and magic, all those things.
So overall, the camp readathon, yay?
Yeah.
Nay? Success?
Yay.
Yeah. You want to do it again next year?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. This was fun. And we forgot to introduce Bowser. I think you can see his little dark face here. He kind of blends in with the shadows.
Yeah.
But he's been a good boy on this trip.
He's been really happy. He's been able to just he never runs away. So he's just been roaming and just trotting along the campsite and exploring, and it's nice to see him be able to be wild. As wild as he would be. Yeah. Because we always have to walk him on a leash, and there's not a lot of dog parks where we live, so it's nice to just let him be free range.
Let him roam, explore the grass, and all sorts of new smells for him to enjoy. So I think he's liked it too. And then the third question I wanted to talk about was the clam, so the trailer versus a tent, and then also versus sleeping in the car. So how did you like having that separate space to camp, and how did you like sleeping in the clam?
Compared to the car, because that's when we're usually together, I liked it more because we had more space and we didn't have to have all our stuff around us, so that was really nice.
Yeah, we didn't have to like move stuff to the front seats from the back to clear out the back sleeping area or anything.
Yeah, and it was much easier to sit up and just spread out. It was really nice. I liked that. It's
a nicer hangout spot. Like it was much better to be in, and if it's gonna be raining and cold like this, I'd much rather be in the clam for a couple days than in the back of the car for a couple days.
Yeah, and it's nice to have a change of scenery, because there were a few times where we were reading in the clam, or maybe we were reading outside. We were reading outside for like a very short amount of time.
It was like an hour yesterday.
And then instead of going back after when it started to rain, we just sat in here, so that was nice. And then when we were tired of sitting in the front seats here, we went back to the clam. So it was just nice to kind of rotate around, and
Nice to have options.
yeah, I liked that. Compared to a tent, much better, because, you know, I went camping without you in a tent, and that was fine. But
A couple months ago, earlier in the summer, she went with some the young women from our church group. She went and camped in the mountains with them in a tent.
yeah, I haven't camped in a tent in a long time, and it wasn't bad. It was just nicer to feel more protected, especially because it rained so much. During that camping trip, it rained for one day, and I was worried about everything getting wet. I didn't get wet, but you can hear the rain hit the tent fabric a little bit louder.
you feel more exposed to the
Yeah.
elements in a tent. When you're even in a car or, you know, in the clam, you feel more protected, more separate from the outside
Yeah.
world. In a tent, there's just a very thin layer, a very thin barrier between you and the outside world.
Yeah, so I felt safer and cozier in the clam.
So I guess let's talk about the clam itself then. I already mentioned, I already told them that there was some condensation in there, and that the doors had to be closed for it to be completely waterproof. And so I said already that I'm probably going to sell that. How do you feel about us getting rid of that?
I mean, I like the clam just because it's called the clam. It looks like a clam.
It's just a neat thing. It's just a cool little thing.
Yeah, I'm glad we had our time in it, but going forward, like if we have a baby or something, I don't see how it would work out as well with a baby, especially if it's raining and we can't ventilate the clam as much, because it has windows, but if it's raining, you can't open the windows. So, and we don't want to drill a hole in it for...
I mean, I'm willing to, but yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to do that just to sell it, you
Yeah.
know.
But I think going forward, something else maybe that we could like stand in would be a little bit better.
And like I said in a recent SUV RVing video where I talked about my first camping trip in the trailer, it'd be nice to have a spot to sit, like a table to sit at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And just do things at.
Yeah. Read, play games, eat, you know, whatever. It'd just be nice to have a separate sitting area so that if we are stuck inside for a few days, you know, we have, like Cassie was saying earlier, we have multiple places to sit, you know, different areas to move around in. So I've been thinking about possibly getting a pop-up camper at some point, but those are, I don't know, like having to put away all of that wet nylon, all of that wet canvas. Like if we brought that here, we would have just tens of square feet of wet cloth to have to pack in before we close the lid. And then, you know, having to air that out once we get back home, that would kind of be a hassle. I really want to get one of those A-liner campers that, like, it's a hard shell pop-up camper that becomes kind of an A-frame sort of thing. But those are like $10,000 or $12,000 even for used ones. So I don't know. Maybe we'll save up for that, or I don't know.
Guess we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
What else you come across on
Yeah.
Facebook Marketplace.
Exactly. Like there are some other kind of weird pop-up campers, some specific models that I'm interested in. And I browsed Facebook Marketplace looking at weird little campers. I liked this thing because it was weird and unique. I'd never seen anything like that before. I thought it'd be fun to try out. I thought it'd be fun to make a few videos about. And I think mission accomplished there. We did that. And so, yeah, I'll keep my eyes peeled and maybe we'll come across something else fun to try out in the future. But any other thoughts about the clam before we wrap up?
I'll miss the clam.
Yeah.
That's all.
I'll definitely be able to sell it for what I bought it for. I bought it for $2,000. I'll definitely be able to sell it for that. I can probably sell it for $2,500 or $3,000, but we'll see. I think I'll have basically a week, this next week, to sell it. And if I need to lower the price to just get it sold, I want it gone before winter. I don't want to deal with it in the driveway. So we'll see. I'll keep you guys posted, but thanks for watching. We're gonna wrap up here. The sun is out, so while there's a little bit of a lull in the storm, we'll clean out the clam and pack it up, and we'll get on out of here. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks Cassie and Bowser for being in the video. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll see you in the next one. Be sure to check out Adventure Know-How, my new site, where you can gain access to a map of all of my free campsites, plus monthly bonus videos that you won't find anywhere else. Learn more at adventureknowhow.com. And for links to everything else SUV RVing related, visit suvrving.com. Links to these sites and more will be in the video description.